Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, binary and non-binary, cats, dogs, zebras, and fish. Welcome to the M21 card review, whereby I, Sean Day9 Plot, will provide the truth about each and every card in this fucking set. I love card reviews so much. I love card reviews. And look at this beautiful card review. Uh-oh, I'm not huge enough. Look at this beautiful card review graphic that's created by Ed the editor. Hold on, let me just... yes. What is a card review if not a monument to my vanity? Oh, I also like my hair. I kind of decided not to plaster it to my head and ignore the fact that I need a haircut. Instead, I decided to let the volume speak for itself in the same way that I let the volume of my voice speak for itself. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we get into this card review, we're going to try to do about an hour per color and then 1 hour for the multicolored and artifacts. So that should be about 6 hours long. However, this typically takes me closer to 8. Also, the whole purpose of a card review is fun and anticipation. When I can't get my hands on the cards, it's fun to theorize what the cards will be like. But I like to compare card reviews to future television series, seasons, and episodes that you haven't seen yet. Predictions, one of those sorts of things. Everyone in their right mind would have predicted a great end to Game of Thrones. That would be a reasonable prediction. So what we're doing here is not necessarily trying to be correct. We're trying to have fun. So, with that in mind, if there is a review that you disagree with, please feel free to clip that, and next time I'm playing and I get owned by that card, or I use that card that I gave a 5 out of 5 and it doesn't do anything, feel free to paste that clip. Feel free to paste that shit right in my face. That would be fantastic. Also, if any of you disagree, you're wrong. You're wrong? Thank you. That's good. That's very good. And he starts to clip every card. God, that makes sense. We got a few hundred cards to go through. No reason you shouldn't be creating a few hundred clips. All right. And also, before I begin the review, how are you? How's your day? Is it good? You having a good dog? Having a good day? Got our good dog right here. Hey, Tobias, I only have 5 words for you. Damn glad to see you. Guess that is 6 words. Oh, I cut off the 6. Because I counted 5 words in my head. Oh, hope you're having a good dog. Hope you're having a good dog. Because if you don't, we got your good dog right here. We also got your missile launcher right here. All right. By the way, M21 review today. Tomorrow, Command & Conquer Red Alert. Monday, mostly walking. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be a Magic the Gathering Arena Extravaganza as M21 is dropping, baby. Boom, boom, bam. All right, knuckles cracked. Time to attack. Alpine Watchdog. 1 and a white. It's a creature dog. First of all, do note that the creature type is dog. Creature type is dog, and dogs are a supported tribal in M21. Isn't that awesome? So, many of the dog decks will be looking for vanilla dogs. And the Alpine Watchdog is a really good boy. And I already think that this is a more beautifully illustrated dog than in Call of the Wild, starring Harrison Fjords. 2/2 with Vigilance, 0 out of 5 constructed. 23rd card out of 40 for limited. All right. On to the next one. Oh my god. Angelic Ascension. 1 and a white. It's an instant. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Its controller creates a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Oh. What? Oh, this is so interesting. What on earth even is this? Oh, wow. Oh, dude, I love weird cards. Already I feel some 5 out of 5s coming in hot. Here's the thing. This is the kind of card that if you're like a vintage or legacy player, you're like, oh, that's broken. That's like the best card in the world. Because any card that is confusing at all, vintage and legacy players are like, oh, are you kidding me? It just makes... This is going to go perfect in my no-land deck, right? Like, it's a way that I can spend 2 mana to give myself a 4/4 flyer, but I have to have a creature out already. Perhaps something like Raise the Alarm that summons a pair of 1/1s, and then I can turn one of the 1/1s into a 4/4, seems a little circuitous. This is also an emergency measures kind of card that you might want to put in a draft deck as like a, well, there's no way I can deal with that thing, so may as well just exile it. So, you make your horrible problem into just a good old-fashioned bad problem. I would give this card a 0 out of 5 in Constructed, and a 1 out of 5 in Limited. And a 5 out of 5 in Vintage, because that format doesn't make any sense. Review cards only on their impact on Vintage, please. I know. Anointed Chorister. Oh my god, I ordered some carne asada tacos last night, and a Chorister taco. Sounds really good. 1 white creature, human cleric, lifelink, anointed Chorister. Gets +3/+3 until end of turn. This looks very much so like an appropriate to put in a limited deck, right? Makes a good amount of sense. I will note, this is kind of nice in Mono White Life Game, which is a deck that I was literally running on Tuesday. Sheriff? Sheriff? Are you okay, baby girl? Yeah, she's fine. So, if we look at the Mono White Life Game decks, there are 2 1/1 lifelinkers that feel good, right? There is the All Side of Life's Bounty and the Healer's Hawk. Anointed Chorister might actually be an acceptable additional 1-drop to put in there to really leverage the 1-drop life gain, because there's a lot of cards that benefit from life gainers at 2 and 3, notably a Johnny's Pridemate. Heliod, you get +1/+1 counters on things when healing happens. Even the 4-mana Ajani creates Pridemates. I know that there's one more that I'm forgetting, but whatever. This is the sort of thing that can actually make those other cards activate way more frequently, so that's good. So I would actually give this like a 2 out of 5 in Constructed, and probably a 2 or 3 out of 5 in Limited. This is not an amazing... No, this is 2 out of 5 Limited. This is also a 22nd, 23rd card. It's a white Brushwag. Yeah, Brushwag's, it's okay. It's all right. Even Gaggle Master. Oh, me! I'm just mastering the gaggles. Oh, 3 and a pair of whites. Creature Bird Warrior. This art is hilarious. That duck is absolute, 1800s painting trying to just capture the scenery kind of looking duck head, right? And then also, it's just got these lithe legs and arms and a big sword and a shield. It might make it a little clumsier to fly, but I also want to give it a 5 out of 5 right now. When Aven Gagglemaster enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each creature you control with flying. Oh, this card sucks in Constructed. 0 out of 5. Why? 5 mana for a 4/3 flyer is a big dumpster. Gaining 2 life for each creature you control with flying. Well, maybe I am like... Azorius Flyers deck, and I'm up against red, and I want to make a bunch of flyers, and I want to heal for 6 on turn 5. That's a bad plan, and you'd be a bad player for getting behind that plan. So I'd give it a 0 out of 5 in Constructed. In Limited, I would give this like a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Flyers are nice. Flyers are just really nice, and a 4-power flyer, that's quite some pain. That's quite a bit of brutality being laid down in the skies. So I'd be happy to pick one of these up. I wouldn't quite give it like a 4 out of 5 in Limited because it doesn't really do anything other than just fly. Seems okay. Baneslayer Angel, 5 out of 5 Constructed. Holy shit. Oh, yeah. 5 out of 5 Constructed, 5 out of 5 Limited. And I have to be very precise with why I'm saying 5 out of 5. Let me do the Limited first. This is a flying first strike lifelinker with protection from shit. A 5/5 flyer for 5. Remember how I just said I would give this a 3 out of 5? Because it's a 4/3 flyer, 4/5. This is the exact same cost, and it gets a bigger, stronger, better card in all ways. Nice. The reason I will say that this is a 5 out of 5 Constructed is because this is an ideal anti-aggro tool for many control decks that contain white. Look no further than the angel whose name I'm forgetting. Oh my god, why am I blank? Lyra, thank you. Lyra Dawnbringer. Thanks, the hippie. Thanks, Nightwind. Yeah, Lyra was a staple for a lot of Esper control and Azorius control and things like this. Demons and dragons, I don't actually care terrifically much about. I don't even think there's that many demons or dragons around right now, but that's fine. This is just an astoundingly good sideboard card. I don't necessarily think it will be super main deckable. There's always folks exploring ways to make Boros Angels good. So maybe there could be some merit there, but like this is a 5/5 flying first strike lifelinker that's not even legendary, man. You're gonna get multiple of them. So maybe I should actually amend this to 4 out of 5 in constructed if I'm trying to remove points for it not necessarily being main deckable, but this is definitely really, really, really nice. First strike is just bomb as fuck. First strike is just super duper bomb, and it allows you to just be on the offensive with it. So those are nice. Bosley, 1 and a pair of whites. Ooh, okay, it's a 3 mana planeswalker that comes out with 3 loyalty, which is not a ton. Better than Oko's coming out with more or less 6 loyalty on turn 3. +1, you get a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Very cool effect. -2, whenever 1 or more non-token creatures attack this turn. Create that many 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. -6, which you probably will never get to. You get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Oh man, I love this card. Oh my god. I love this card. This card is great. Okay, like, so its usage set is obviously relatively narrow. Why? The +1 and the -2 don't do anything by themselves. There needs to be other creatures on the board, which is the theme of like a lot of white and Naya token generation type thingies. But if you're a white weenie deck, you can play a big problem that a lot of aggro decks have when it comes to considering cool utility cards is that the utility cards aren't creatures. So for instance, if I was like a white weenie deck and I was looking at cards like Devout Decree to remove target or to remove enemies, glass caskets, various removal spells of sorts, I can wind up with a hand that has 2 creatures and 2 removal spells, and then I can't really do anything very quickly. So often you'll see in a lot of white weenie type decks or a lot of Selesnya or Naya token kind of decks, or even Boros aggro decks, you'll see creature cards that also do something as the means to have utility. You'll see a 1 mana creature that can tap enemy creatures. You'll see things like this. So when I look at a card that seems like it would go pretty well in a lot of these token, small creature kind of decks, I immediately go, but it's not generating any creatures, so I don't know. But this card has the -2 to allow us to just swarm out with a whole bunch of small creatures, and then allows us the ability to continue to bonk in, working towards a -6. I think that this is actually okay. I would give it a 3 out of 5 in constructed. 3 out of 5 in constructed. Putting counters on things and giving them indestructible is okay. -2 to be able to make tokens from non-tokens, it's going to be okay. Most of the ways to generate a lot of dudes is to generate a lot of tokens, so the -2 wouldn't really be applicable. So I'd give it like a 3 out of 5. I can see it having merit. I would worry about this being... it's very fragile when I look at it. It's very fragile. It doesn't protect itself. It's not like Teenage Vraska, the 4 mana Vraska that can be played and then delete something. Or Big Vraska that can be played and make a 2/2 pirate, you know? It's not protecting itself in any way. It needs other creatures on the board, and going to 4 is okay. But I do think it's possible to get to that -6 pretty swiftly. I mean, if you get to -6 against a control deck, you just, like, insta-snap win. It's okay. It seems okay. I'd give it a 3 out of 5. In Limited, 5 out of 5. This is an absolute baller bomb-ass planeswalker, right? You can just keep making a creature bigger and bigger and bigger and get to this -6 pretty quickly, right? It's like 4 turns away. It's not bad. Bosley's Acolyte. Oh, it's a cat cleric. Ooh, 5 out of 5. 2 and a pair of whites. Life linking 2/3. When Bosley's Acolyte enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures you control. Oh, c'est intéressant. So this is basically 4/5 for 4 mana. It's a Siege Rhino. It's a very powerful amount of stats for the cost, but it requires other creatures. I'd give this a 0 out of 5 in Constructed because turn 4, being able to put a +1/+1 counter on 2 other creatures, God, I hope they've stayed alive, and why am I trying to make a plan that just gives me 2 extra power on turn 4? No. I don't think that this is... This effect clearly is pretty good, but is it good relative to other options that we might have in some of these decks? The answer, unfortunately, is nope. 0 out of 5 Constructed. Fuck yeah. And I hope you're actually learning anything. Now, in Limited, this seems like it could be okay. I mean, I might give it a 2 out of 4 Limited. I don't know what the entire set looks like. Maybe Lifelink is a super amazing keyword. What do we... Ooh, we can't... This is Magic the Gathering. Lifelink's a bad keyword. You know, I think it'd be fine to have it limited. I'd give it a 2 out of 5. It's fine. It's kind of what I'd call fill, right? Like, you try to get some 4s and 5s, and then you're excited to have the 3s there, and then you just kind of have, like, 10 cards that are 2s and 1s, you know? And I feel like Lionheart 544 in chat really hits the nail on the head. 4 mana is a bit high to want to run this. You just want to play more dudes, not one that buffs. This is the typical problem when it comes to a creature that when it enters has to support another creature. You just go, dude, why do I not just run a 4 mana 4/4 that's overall lower stats, but I guarantee the 4/4. Basri's Lieutenant. 3 and a white. It's a human knight. Vigilance, protection from multicolored. Ooh! When Basri's Lieutenant enters the battlefield, put +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. There it is. This is the exact example I was just talking about. This is put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It can buff itself. It can buff something else. And there's even a third bit of text. When Basri's Lieutenant or another creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Holy fucking shit. This card is very good. Holy shit. That is great. Who do we appreciate? Wow. Beautiful. What a beaut. Wow. Woo. +1/+1 counters matter. That's nice. Heliod loves this guy. I love this guy. I am into this creature. Holy crap. This is like a better Mothra. This is like a nice card. Yeah, well, maybe I'll run Basri's Lieutenants and Mothra. Yeah. So, first of all, protection from multicolored, great. 4 mana for 4/5 of stats, great in both limited and constructed. Not unbelievable in constructed, but you know it's good. 4/5 for 4 is good. And the fact that you can play a 4/5 on turn 4, and when it dies, it gets a 2/2 knight. This is very nice when it comes to resilience against board sweepers. This feels very, very nice. Protection for multicolored. There are some good multicolored removal that are going around right now. Most notably, I think Casualties of War is probably still going to be an excellent card. Uro is still going to be an excellent card. And I think Basri's Lieutenant is going to have a lot of strength in those situations because often you play Uro as a big wall to prevent you from bonking in. I feel like there's another multicolored removal that I'm forgetting. I'm not going to look at chat. Okay, I don't remember it. Yes, can't get Fairy Bounced. That's another one. Technically not removal. Yeah, Bedevil is technically something to remove it, but, you know. Black-red sucks. Sean's hair has never looked crazier. You know, Jackal, too, one of the funny things is that, like, the green screen is actually filtering out a lot of this. So it keeps filtering out the wisps of my hair. Let's see if I look any more normal. I feel like I look quite a bit more normal now. You can actually see the volume, right? It actually just looks like hair. But then when I turn the green screen on, it actually filters out a good portion of it. So it looks a little bit like I have brittle, dry branches. I have twig head. Just little... All right. This card's nice. Now, in Constructed, I'd probably give this a I'm going to be bold and say 4 out of 5. 5 out of 5 for limited. There you go. Bosley's Solidarity. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Okay. This card's merit in Constructed is based exclusively on how good White Weenie is and how good Mass Token Generation is. This does get me very excited, especially when I look back to Basri's Lieutenant. And if there's more cards that say +1/+1 counters matter, like anytime a creature with a +1/+1 counter dies, do thing X. This is 2 mana for a pretty good effect. And the thing I'm comparing it to is not Unbreakable Formation, which I feel like is the automatic one to think of because that's one of the more relevant cards. Unbreakable Formation is primarily useful for breaking through a stale board. It's not that good in other circumstances. This, because it's 1 mana less, actually feels a little bit closer to Heroic Reinforcements, which is right when you're about to stabilize. I can just play this for 2 and bash in and deal a bunch of damage. I think that this could have some merit in Constructed. I would give it a 1 out of 5 in Constructed. I would say Basri's Solidarity has hope, but not much. I want to say 0, but I'm going to give this a 1 because I'll probably try to make this work. I really like White Weenie a lot because anything that reminds me of StarCraft gets a big up in my book. Now, in Limited, I also would not rate this particularly highly. I wouldn't rate it particularly highly. Sorry, there's a lot of L's and R's that are getting mixed in my mouth. Because, you know, putting +1/+1 counters on all your creatures is like, okay. You almost want something that's just a wee bit more potent, like +2/+0, like a Trumpet Blast, +2/+1. +2/+2, like +1/+1 is just not that much. It's not that much. So I'd give it 1s across the board. 1s across the board. Celestial Enforcer. I actually really like this art. 2 and a white. I mean, it's a kind of simple art, but I don't know, I think it's very beautiful. It's a Human Cleric. 1 and a white. Tap target creature. Activate this ability only if you control a creature with flying. Boo! 0 out of 5 Constructed. What are you talking about? I love conditional abilities in my Constructed deck. No, you don't. No, you don't. Take your kitchen table magic and get out of here. Limited, though? No, I'd give it a 1. I'd give it a disappointment out of 5. I would give it a nostalgia out of 5. I would give it I play this in Limited and I go, oh man, do you guys remember in one of those older sets where this creature could just tap? It could just tap? Do you remember Giant Killer? It was 1 mana and it did this same thing with no downside. Yeah, this card sucks. I'm gonna give it a negative 1 out of 5 in both Constructed and Limited because it's almost offensive that it's been printed, you know. I mean, a lot of people are upset about the companions and their power level, and they're like, Wizards, why do you ban my happiness? But this is me calling out Wizards. What, you want to make a conditional tap ability for a 2/3 for 3? Who do you think I am? Concordia Pegasus, 1 and a white for a flying 1/3. 0 out of 5 Constructed. 1 out of 5 Limited because every once in a while you win a game by pecking in the face. Concordia Pegasus actually wishes that it had a little unicorn horn. It doesn't. It headbutts, and that's where the 1 damage comes from. Containment Priest. Oh, welcome back. Containment Priest, 1 and a white, flash, Human Cleric. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. Now there's some important things to note. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. This means for something like my brain's melting. I'm messing up on some of the names of things. If a non-token creature, so this would be like an actual card. If this is like a bring from the graveyard effect, if this is, what the hell's the name of the card? Winota, thank you, Jesus. Winota, Luca, a lot of the things that Grafdigger's Cage also hits. This gets a lot of these, and because it's flash, you can kind of deny some of the combos. What this doesn't hit token generators like Legion Warboss. This doesn't hit, actually doesn't hit any tokens whatsoever. This does hit Cauldron Familiar, because the Cauldron Familiar is just returned to the battlefield. It doesn't hit Escape, because Escape is you're still casting. It's just an alternate casting cost. One thing to note is that things exiting and re-entering the battlefield, which I think is phasing, flickers when it exits the battlefield and then it comes back at the end of the turn. I don't remember what the exile leave come back is. If there's something that exiles and then it comes back, this also counters that. The Ultimatum, this counters that. This is very situational. I'd give it a 2 out of 5. Yeah, I mess up all the keywords. It doesn't matter. Listen, the fact is, if you have something that's like, it leaves the battlefield and comes back at the end of the turn, this shuts that down. So like Charming Prince, Thassa, things like that. So this is a 6 sideboard card. This is essentially a 2/2 in Limited. This is essentially a 2/2 in Limited. So I'm going to give 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5. I get a pair of 2 out of 5s, but I would have excitement about it. Daybreak Charger. When Daybreak Charger enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Whoa. Holy shit, that's actually good. Whoa, this is a pathetic looking card that I actually think is like the bee's knees, man. I would give this like a 4 out of 5 in Constructed. It has an extremely precise strength where it is. And in case you're curious where I get the comparison for this, Rimrock Knight is a regular in Mono Red and Gruul. And Rimrock Knight says you cast on a creature to give it +2/+0, and then you have a 3/1 that can't block. So Daybreak Charger is those things, except you just play it, and then immediately the thing gets the +2/+0. So this is doing that for 1 spell, whereas Rimrock Knight breaks it into 2 spells. And Rimrock Knight's +2/+0 is instant speed, so technically it's a combat trick that this doesn't have, because it doesn't have flash. But I still think that this is a really reasonable beater. I think Rimrock Knight is +3, isn't it? No, it's +2, Zilatani. But it's often cast on 1/1s, which causes the +3 to get stuck in your head, and this is a really common psychology of small numbers thing. Or not psychology of small numbers, just psychology of numbers thing, which I think is like really fascinating. It's where like... people tend to take the base number and the added number and put them all together as the full add. It's really common, really common. So I fully support your mismemory, Zilatani. But yeah, in Limited, this is very mediocre in Limited. Maybe a 2 out of 5. You know, it's just more pack filler. This is often a 3/1 for 2. This is often a Savai Sabertooth. You know, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, you know. Defiant Strike. Welcome back. You're in the meta. What do you want, a second review? Go fuck yourself. Defiant Strike, 0 out of 5 in Limited and Constructed. Don't think that you can show back up in M21 and think that I will suddenly get excited about you. I have only ever hated you. You have only ever been in those stupid feather decks. Ugh, gross, dumb, bad, 0 out of 5. Don't run this card, and if you're running feather, you can delete Magic from your computer. Dub, 2 and a white, Enchantment Aura. By the way, did you think that we were going to be genuine about all our reviews? I didn't say I was going to be genuine and sincere in all of them. I said that I was going to be accurate and truthful. Huh? Alright, so this is Dab. This is 2 and a white. Enchant Creature. Enchant Creature has +2/+2, has first strike, and is a knight in addition to its other types. 0 out of 5 Constructed. We can move on. Who's ever looked at an enchantment in Constructed and gone, oh yeah, it just affects this creature? Oh, I can't wait to get 2 for 1. Yeah, Kermit's dog shit at this game, let me tell you. Dab, however, in Limited, I kind of wanted to give it a low rating in Limited when I first saw this card. This is a reprint, by the way. However, Dab has had a lot of merit in all the Limited situations in which I've had it. I always wind up with like a 21st card, something like that. It can get 2 for 1, but like if your opponent, you know, bonks out some removal and then in some later turn you play dab on one of your creatures. First strike and +2/+2 is really nice. It almost makes something an unblockable creature or just an incredible wall to buy time. I quite like this card. I'd give it a 3 out of 5 in limited for that reason. Faith's Fetters. 3 and a white. Enchant permanent. When Faith's Fetters enter the battlefield, you gain 4 life. Enchant permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated in lesser mana abilities. So this is like thick... thick pacifism. This is thick pacifism. I mean, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 in constructed, or what the fuck, 4 out of 5 in limited. Constructed 0 out of 5. What the hell? I mean, you want deletion. You don't want removal in constructed. You want deletion. Okay, you want to just turn it into dry leaves, like you just snap the opponent's board. You don't want to get them all tied up with a shoelace and gain 4 life. Ugh. But removal is removal in limited. And this is perfectly acceptable removal. Perfectly acceptable removal. What happened? Why did my screen go white? My God, I saw white. My God, I saw my light flash before my eyes. Falconer Adept. 3 and a white. Beautiful art. God, that art is exceptional. It's like, feels like halfway between like sort of cartoonish and realism. It's really nice. 2/3 Human Soldier. When Falconer Adept attacks, create a 1/1 bird creature with flying that's tapped and attacking. Ooh, okay. Now constructed, I'm going to give this a hearty 0 out of 5. I cannot tell you the number of token generating cards that I've tried to make work, and they just suck. Sky Knight Vanguard sucks. Outlaws Veriment sucks. They all suck. God, I want token generation. Falconer Adept, a 2/3 for 4. Infinite generation of birds. But it's the attacking with the 2/3 that's very, very tricky. I would give this 3 out of 5 in limited. This is absolutely better than this stupid Basri's badness. What is this? Oh no, this is Celestial Enforcer. What is this? Basri's Acolyte. I'm a 4-mana 2/3 and I'm gonna lifelink. No. I'm a 4-mana 2/3 and without anyone's assistance, I make 1/1s by my own bootstraps. So I think that Falconer Adept, 3 out of 5 in limited. It's one of these things that I'm like, cool. I'm happy to have this card in there, but it still needs support. Combat tricks, very common in limited, so this could be one that embraces the trickery. 0 out of 5 in constructed. What the hell? Why? Okay, guys. With all sincerity, a bit of an epilepsy concern for any of you that do have that. I don't know why it's flashing white whenever I try to load the next frame, but for any of you that have any of that, I just want to note that this appears to be happening consistently, so be careful. Feat of Resistance, 1 and a white. Instant, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control against protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. I don't think that this is going to ever show up in constructed. I don't think that this is ever going to show up in constructed because God's Willing is 1 white. And this is 1 and a white. There are also other cards that help with indestructibility. I don't think... And +1/+1 counters historically have just been a upside, not a reason to do stuff with a spell. So the +1/+1 feels pretty incidental on this card. This is a 2-mana protected dude. So, I mean, it seems okay and limited. 2 out of 5, it's a reasonable one. In terms of constructed, 0 out of 5. Never ever run this in constructed or you're grounded. Gale Swooper, 3 and a white. Creature Griffin, 3/2. Nice. Flying. When Gale Swooper enters the battlefield, target creature gains flying until end of turn. Real tight in limited. I like this card in limited, man. I like this card in limited. This is another 3 out of 5. This is another 3 out of 5. I might give it a 4 out of 5, except it doesn't block very well with the 2 toughness. You'd really need to be on the offensive, but very solid little card limited. It, all on its own, can threaten the end of the game, and you can speed that up by a turn by giving something flying with which to bonk to face. But this is clearly an aggressively bent card, not good defensively. Constructed 0 out of 5. Why give a creature flying when I could have a spell that just kills enemy creatures? That's what I'm talking about. Glorious Anthem. 1 and a pair of whites. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Ooh, 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 ooh. Is this thing going to be doing this all day? Hold on, let me see if this helps it at all. Zooming forward, zooming back. Glorious Anthem. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Wow. Incredible art. Really incredible. This card sucks. Oh my god. It took me a moment. I had to really reflect. Most of what I do here is knee-jerk reactions. But then I saw this puppy. I was enamored and entranced by the art for a moment. And then I thought to myself, does this card do anything? And I think the answer is yes. Pay 3 mana, discard a card. I would give it a 0 out of 5 in Constructed. I'd give it a 0 out of 5 in Constructed. That's what I would give it. This is, yeah, it's a banalish Marshall without the Marshall. It's just banalish. I mean, what? I mean, huh? No, no, no. Glorious Anthem is not going to be in a Constructed deck. 0 out of 5 for Constructed, and there you have it. Now, in Limited, part of me looks at this and says, do I want my creature to have +1/+1, or do I want 2 creatures? I would give this like a 0 out of 5 in Limited, man. Maybe even a 1 out of 5 in Limited. I mean, why would I want this when this... I mean, I would even want one of my mediocre 2/3s. You know what I want? This might become my desktop background, so that way I can look at it and go, oh, that's right, I should play Magic and not draft this card. Bang, there it is, 0 out of 5 in both. The criticism I have with this is that it is just so important to have creatures, and this is good when you have lots of creatures, so you don't have a creature when you're playing this. Or I should say, this is, you're down 1 creature when you're playing this, right? If you have a deck that is really heavily focused on token generation and stuff like that, I mean, obviously this will do something there, but I mean, it's just +1/+1. 0s across the board. It's a big pile of poo-poo. It's a little Griffinary. The Griffinary. 1 and a white enchantment at the beginning of your end step. If you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. Oh, I'm definitely going to try to make this bad card work. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, this card. Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. Here we go. Oh, my God. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Ooh, is Fountain of Renewal in the set? Is Fountain of Renewal in the set? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. This card is so cool. How do you try to gain 3 life in every turn? How do you try to gain 3 life in every turn? Ooh, and it generates that at the end step. Oh. Ooh, yeah. Oh, let's get some life gain and start making 2/2s. Constructed 1 out of 5. Because I'll probably spend 1 out of every 5 shows per week trying to make this card work. So I'd give it a 1 out of 5 in Constructed. In Limited, I don't know how much life gain there is. And in Limited, this would intuitively feel to me like a 0 out of 5. But obviously, if you have a good amount of life linking, then there you have it. 1 out of 5 in Constructed. I look forward to trying this on the day of launch. Fuck, I hate myself sometimes. It's so weird. Idol of Endurance. Oh, yeah. 2 and a white for an artifact. When Idol of Endurance enters the battlefield, exile all creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard until Idol of Endurance leaves the battlefield. Till end of turn, you may cast a creature spell from among the cards exiled with Idol of Endurance without paying its mana cost. This is a fascinating card. Huh. Huh. I don't know. I don't know. Now in limited, this is a solid card in limited that must be played very cautiously. In limited, I would probably give this a 4 out of 5 because it doesn't do anything the turn it's played. Right? We are always concerned about that. But as many of you know, if you've played limited, you sometimes spend your turn drawing cards. So if I think of Idol of Endurance in this way, I spend the turn drawing cards, and then I just get one thing from the graveyard a turn, and one thing from my hand a turn. One thing from the graveyard a turn, one thing from the hand a turn. So this, I would actually view this as a 5-mana card. This is not a 3-mana card, this is a 5-mana. You wait until turn 5 when some stuff has died. You play this for 3, and then you tap, cast a creature. I realize how I'm misreading this. Here's how I'm misreading this. I was misreading this as until end of turn, you can cast something from the graveyard for free. That's false. You have to target the cards in your graveyard when Idol of Endurance is cast. So let's imagine for a moment that I have one creature in the graveyard. I cast Idol of Endurance, targeting that. It's now in exile. Then when that card gets cast, Idol of Endurance has nothing in exile. So if 20 more creatures die and go to graveyard, Idol of Endurance has not been able to target those because they enter the graveyard after the Idol of Endurance was cast. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? It's not that anytime something enters the graveyard, then Idol of Endurance exiles it, and then you can cast without paying its mana cost. I'm going to hedge my comment and say that Idol of Endurance strikes, to me, to look like a 3 out of 5 in limited. So this is like a turn 6 or 7 card, but I still give it a pretty good rating because this appears to me to be on turn 6, draw 3 small creatures. All right. It could be crazy bomb-like in a really long limited game. This is something to be very awkward in the opening hand. Very, very awkward in the opening hand. But I mean, honestly, this is draw many cards is a way to think about this. Draw many cards. Or a better way to put it is, this says draw 2 cards a turn for some turns, which I find to be quite a good effect. So I'd give it a 3 out of 5 in limited. Constructed, this card fucking sucks. 0 out of 5. Wow. You run Idol of Endurance. Wow, somebody misses Luris. Oh, you can still run Luris. You just gotta pay 3 mana and put it in your hand before I discard it. Ugh. Get out of here. Legion's Judgment. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. This is a limited out of 5 card. If this ever shows up in Constructed, just keep saving for those wild cards. You know what I mean? This is a limited card. Oh yeah, this is also a very 23rd-ish card because there's often not a lot of 4-power creatures. There exists some 4-power creatures, but you don't want to run like 5 of these in your deck. Light of Promise. Oh, this is exactly what it feels like when I'm having my first cup of coffee in the day. Light of Promise, 2 and a white, enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchant creature has, whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature. What? 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 That's so stupid. This card's wild. Whoa. Wow. Let me tell you something. What? 1 out of 5 constructed. I want to say 0, but I'm going to say a 1 because There is some enchantment life gain jank stuff that's floating around right now that's pretty okay, and this will turn that 8/8 all Seed of Life's bounty into a 20/20 pretty quickly. So I can see some merit, but I want to give it a 0 out of 5. In Limited, again, life gain's kind of a weird thing, and Hydra's growth was not astounding, but it was also not irrelevant in sets of yore. So, I mean, Utter Neuter says, what happened to that Daxos Heliod White Weenies? You can see a video that I uploaded yesterday on my YouTube of me playing it. It's actually, it feels pretty nice, but it needs some work. Yeah, I'd give it like a 1 out of 5 in Limited. 1 out of 5 in Limited. 1 out of 5 in Limited. Because Hydra's growth... Enchantments on creatures, first of all, they need a creature, and then second of all, there needs to be enough time for the enchanted creature to then do stuff with its enchantment. Hydra's growth needed a creature, and then it needed the creature to stay alive a little bit and then get big. This needs a third piece, which is some lifelong in there. I don't know. Makeshift but alien. Makeshift but a lion. 2 and a white. It's a creature. It's a makeshift human soldier. Whenever makeshift but a lion, and at least 2 other creatures attack, put a +1/+1 counter on makeshift but a lion. This is classic Magic. Can I just say, all the cards that I've seen feel like classic Magic to me. I mean, I know that's part of the point of a core set, but it just feels like fucking Magic. Feels like Magic, you know? Feels like Magic. We have Angels and Life Gain, +1/+1 counters and Anthems. This is Magic. Ikoria was a lot of fun until people discovered how good Luris and Yorion were, and then it was just an irredeemable jumble of shit. But then once they were banned, I've actually had quite a lot of fun in Ikoria again. But Ikoria also kind of was very extreme in a lot of regards, like Mutate and the Ultimatums and a lot of the largeness of things, even Companions now that they've been sent to a level that is reasonable. You know, this like Ikoria felt very new and very fresh. This feels very like warm and like I'm at home. Right? It's like when you have hot apple pie because one of your family members made hot apple pie when you were growing up, and you just think back to life on the farm. Like makeshift but a lion. Wow. 0 out of 5 constructed. 1 out of 5 limited. Mangara the Diplomat. 3 and a white. Oh, I saw this creature before. Oh my god. Oh, okay, let me talk to you about this fucking card. 2/4 lifelinker. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers use control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. 5 out of 5 constructed. 5 out of 5 constructed. 5 out of 5 constructed. Okay, let's think through this card. I talk about this a lot. 4 toughness is a significant inflection point in Magic the Gathering. You have Mire's Grasp, -3/-3, Fire Prophecy, various forms of red lightning bolt type stuff that deals 3 damage. You have a lot of creatures that deal 3 damage. You have a lot of just situations in which 3 damage comes up. 1/1's getting buffed by a Rimrock Knight. Things like this. 4 toughness is a substantial inflection point. So versus aggro, you play this, it's already life linking, which is great. Right? It's already life linking, which is great. Oh, Deafening Clarion. Thank you, Antibody. And also, if you're up against an aggro deck, they'll generally have more creatures on the board. So they'll attack, you'll get to draw a card, and then they'll probably cast multiple spells in a turn, you'll get to draw a card. I mean, this is one of these really get a leg up for a turn. This is just a shutdown aggro card. This is amazing. I mean, this is clearly a sideboard card, but it's a single white, so it's an extremely effective sideboard card, even if someone is, say, black-blue, splashing white. They can actually play this quite good. Quite goodly. So, it would not surprise me if aggro remains weak for a while, because aggro's kind of struggling right now with dominant cards like Uro in the meta. But This is M21. This is going to be in rotation for a while, for a year and change. And when aggro comes to rise, Mangara the Diplomat will be there to save us. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 constructed, even though it's a very clearly sideboard style card. Now, when it comes to limited, what do we think about this one? Four out of 5. I give it a 4 out of 5. It's a 2/4, which is, again, a substantial inflection point. Lots of things. Have 3 toughness or deal 3 damage. This is very nice because it's 4, so it's extremely good defensively. It just happens to not be good offensively. But in a long game, eventually your opponent's going to have to attack and you'll get card advantage. Eventually your opponent is going to have to cast 2 spells in a turn if they want to try to, outpace you casting 2 spells in a turn. So I'd give this 4 out of 5 in limited. This seems like a very strong card. I'm cuckoo for Mangara Puffs. 9 lives. 10 out of 10. I don't give a shit. This is the best card that's been printed. Look. Oh my god. I gotta show this to the cats. 9 lives. 1 and 2 white enchantment. Hexproof. 10 out of 10. I don't even know what the other parts of the text says. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile it. When 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. What? What? Wow. This card's real bad against Niv Mizzet. Ping, 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 death. Okay, not good in limited. Let's go ahead and give this a negative 1 out of 5 in limited, because let's be real. Would you rather have die in 9 turns or another creature that can actually help you win? I think that's what I can think. However, if you're up against an aggro deck that is chunking you for damage, I mean, just think about the way that, like, a lot of mono red aggro decks work. They'll have like 1 creature, and then they'll have like 2 to 4 creatures over the next few turns. Maybe remove 1 or 2. I mean, this is just an incredible card to, when you're down to 3 life, you can just play 9 lives, and this generally will give you 2 extra turns. This will generally give you 2 extra turns. There's also an extra bit of humor in that you can just play Teferi, bounce 9 lives, and replay it. Oh, when 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. Never mind. Never mind. You could play Teferi and just instantly fucking die, bro. You could just, like, do that. This card's great. You can bounce it and commit Sudoku. Yeah, no, I would probably not take everything I say at face value. But, like, you kind of get what I mean. Has hexproof. You can target your own things with hexproof. It just means your opponent can't target things with hexproof. Yeah, so I would say that this is a fringe defensive card against aggro, but this is a very powerful fringe defensive card against aggro. This is really, really, really cool. This is really, really, really cool. Now, if there's a target opponent needs to sacrifice an enchantment, a la Farrakha's Libation, whoopsie-doopsie, okay? Whoopsie-doopsie. But I think that something like, oh my god, Timur Reclamation. Timur Reclamation. Timur Reclamation. Timur Reclamation is trying to deal 40 damage in 1 turn. Zenith Flare decks. That's trying to deal like 40 damage in 1 turn. Dude. Yeah, I think this has real legs in Constructed. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 in Constructed, which is incredible. 0 out of 5 in Limited. Pack Leader. Oh, what a good dog. Oh, this is such a good dog. 1 in a white. Other dogs get +1/+1 because you're good dogs. Whenever Pack Leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn to dogs. It is a 2/2 that anthems other dogs and keeps itself alive. What a good dog. This has to be good and constructed in some regard. This has to be good. Has to be good. I mean, if you are an aggro white weenie deck and you need more defensive cards, Pack Leader's not a good defensive card, but you can board it out. You'll be your loyal champion, and his pack your protectors. All he asks for is a full belly, a spot by the fire, and all the love in your heart. Oh my god. What a good dog. 3 out of 5 constructed? 3 out of 5 limited? Something like that? Maybe even 4 out of 5 limited? I mean, preventing combat damage for everything is like really good. One of the nice things is that this is not legendary, so if you get a pair of these out, then, you know, they're buffing each other and buffing everyone. You're double preventing combat damage. Pretty tight. Rambunctious Mutt. Yeah, so what is this? 3 out of 5 constructed, 4 out of 5 limited. Rambunctious Mutt. 3 and a pair of whites. It's a big dog. When a Rambunctious Mutt enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. Hey. Hey. 2 of those on the battlefield means indestructible attacks. Actually, just 1 of them on the battlefield means indestructible attacks. I was talking about you can have 2 of them out to buff each other, as in give each other +1/+1. This says prevent all combat damage that we dealt this turn to dogs. So this already protects itself. This already makes indestructible dog attacks. So, but Rambunctious Mutt, 5 mana to destroy an artifact is a lot. Not good in constructed. White has many easy ways to kill enchantments. So I would give this a 0 out of 5 in constructed. In limited, I give it like a 2 out of 5. It's a very pack fillery kind of thing. A 5 mana 3/4 is kind of the same as a 2 mana 2/2. You look at it and you go, okay. Nothing to get excited about. I don't think there's a lot of ultra powerful artifacts or enchantments in the set, but I don't know. This is as much of the set as I've seen, so who knows? Boo! Revitalize. You gain 3 life, you draw a card. In constructed, 2. In limited, either a 1 or a 2. This has already shown up in previous control decks, Jeskai control, things like that. It's a very nice stabilization card versus aggro. Aggro's not really a thing right now, though. Aggro's not really a thing right now. And I'll note, life gain is typically a value play versus burn. You know, burn cards are, I spend a little bit of mana to deal a lot of damage once. Against Gruul or an Embercleave, you're not like, I want to gain 3 life. No, you want to wipe the board, right? You want to deny things. So this doesn't seem particularly good in current meta, but this is just a fine card. So, you know, 2 out of 5. It also helps trigger that whenever you gain 3 life, summon a 2/2 Griffin. What is that? Griffin Airy. So this is okay. It's a good card. It's 2 out of 5, like 1 out of 5 limited. You know, what can I say? Ruined Halo, double white. As Ruined Halo enters the battlefield, choose a card name. You have protection from the chosen card name. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow, white is the counter to Timur Reclamation. White is the counter to Timur Reclamation, man. You play 9 lives in a Ruined Halo? I mean, you don't even care. You don't even need to deal with the Wilderness Reclamation. You don't even need the destruction effect. Now, do note this says that you have protection from the chosen card name, right? You have protection. This doesn't mean that all your stuff. It just means that you, the person that has 20 health. You the powerful wizard. Oh, I didn't give this rating. 0 out of 5 in limited and 3 out of 5 in constructed. This is sort of interesting. Jacob Paul says, I'm starting to feel mono white control. I really do think mono white control could like legitimately be a thing. Sanctum of the Tranquil Light. That's 1 white. Tap a creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each shrine you control. This is an I'm not going to evaluate it out of 10. I'm not going to evaluate this card. This is a shrine. I don't know how many shrines there are. What's a shrine? What is this weird made-up word that only exists in the world of Magic the Gathering? Like, what even is? I don't know what this is. What is this? There are 6 shrines? Okay. Nadrigal says vintage out of 5. Yeah. Now, there's a vintage player who's, oh my god, this is going to work so great in my no spells deck, right? Vintage players construct sentences that are odd. Dude, vintage players? Oh, man. Vintage players... Oh, man. It's like... When I play Standard, it's a lot about the battle for what's happening on the board, and there's some big creatures, and the creature trying to kill the creatures, and occasionally a Planeswalker shows up, and he's all tough, right? And it feels like it has a theme. The difference between Standard and Vintage is the difference between enjoying books versus being a linguist that enjoys the difference between r and g, right? Vintage players, the strategy is just so abstract. It's so unclear. Even, like, I look at vintage deck lists, and I don't even know what the deck does. It's not even like there's a win condition. It's just like there's a bunch of artifacts that allow other artifacts to tap to return artifacts to the hand. And I'm like, where's the land, right? I don't understand. It's fascinating. Anyways, who knows? No one's ever been able to determine how this card functions. No one even understands. Seasoned Hallowblade, 1 and a white. Discard a card. Tapped Seasoned Hallowblade. It gains indestructible until end of turn. It's bad Adanto Vanguard. Oh, yeah. I love cards that are bad. 1 out of 5 limited. One out of 5 constructed? This card's bad. It's just bad Adanto Vanguard. Bad Adanto Vanguard. You guys are nailing it. I love it. Is this card actually poo-poo? Here's where I'm stopping, okay? Here's where I'm stopping. I was talking about this on Tuesday, that Mark Rosewater writes that some of the most broken cards in Magic are broken because they transform one resource into another too easily. A very obvious example is Phyrexian Mana, which is a way there where if something costs Phyrexian Mana, you can pay the mana cost or you can pay life. So it's basically a bunch of spells that you can cast for free at any time because you have as much health, or you have as much mana as you have health, with some simplifications at work. When I look at this, part of me goes, I can just discard my whole hand immediately. If there's a deck that benefits from having lots of stuff in the graveyard, this could be really good. Like, imagine, this is a very far-fetched example, but whatever. Let's imagine. In my hand, I have 6 cards, and I want to discard Kroxa and a bunch of other stuff. So that way I can cast Kroxa and the escape cost. You know, there are already decks that leverage putting stuff in the graveyard with Ashiok, putting stuff in the graveyard more commonly with Cavalier of Thorns to be able to cast Uro, shit like this. So, you don't have any cost, you don't have to tap, you don't have to do anything. So this does do that, which is kind of interesting. Again, it's not that it discards 1 card, it's that it can discard 6 cards for no cost instantly. So there's something there. I don't know how to evaluate that, but when it comes to the just make the Seasoned Hellblade indestructible, I guess I'd give it like a 2 out of 5 constructed. I mean, indestructibility, 3 power on turn 2 is pretty nice against true control-y decks, but I don't know how many there are. I'm going to give this a 0 out of 5 in constructed. I just don't see how good it is. I'm going to give it a 0 out of 5 in constructed. Largely because of Uro. I give it a 0 out of 5 because it's not good against Uro decks, and almost all the control decks that are around are Uro-full. Also, I'd like to note that this taps the Seasoned Hallowblade. So it's not like the Adanto Vanguard, where it just becomes indestructible. It actually taps it. So this card is terrible. 0 out of 5. And in limited, you know, negative 1 out of 5. Never run this card. Secure the scene. 4 and a white sorcery. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Wow! Now this is pricey, but this is exile a non-land permanent. I like things that say exile non-land permanent. It's sorcery speed, which sucks. Probably will never see the light of day in constructed. 0 out of 5 in constructed because of its sorcery speed. The decks that I would want to play this against would likely have counter spells, so I feel like it's going to be 0 out of 5. And I mean, frankly, if I want to play this card in constructed, why am I not running Elspeth Conquers Death? The only thing that this does better than Elspeth Conquers Death is that this can hit 2 and 1 cost things. So that's where the 0 out of 5 comes from. Exile target non-land permanent is a tight effect. 5 out of 5 in limited. Unbelievable in limited. Just like, you don't even have to be good at deck building. You don't have to figure out what kind of concerns you have. This just exiles a thing, and all you have to deal with is a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Stunning in limited. 0 out of 5 constructed, because there are alternatives that are so much better. 5 out of 5 in limited. Selfless Savior. Oh, this is a good dog. He gets a 10 out of 5. 1 white, sacrifice Selfless Savior. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay. Okay. Might be incredibly value in white weenie. Sack to make something indestructible, it was already a very nice effect. And you don't even have to choose the target until the moment of sacrifice. This is very nice. So it seems very white weenie legit. So I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5, which is an astoundingly high rating in constructed, let me just note. For limited, maybe 1 out of 5. I mean, this is like a 1/1 protector. Maybe I'd give it closer to a 2 out of 5. This is just like a combat trick that occasionally deals 2 damage to the opponent's face. So man, yeah, something like that. Siege Striker, hell yeah, 2 and a white, double strike, bam, and it's a 1/1. Whenever Siege Striker attacks, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Siege Striker gets +1/+1 until the end of turn for each creature tapped this way. 0 out of 5 constructed. Not a chance. Not a chance. This is good in constructed. In limited, pretty good. Pretty good. I'd give it a 2 out of 5. 3. No, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I'm going to give it a solid 3 out of 5. Solid 3 out of 5 for this one. A solid 3 out of 5. Because, I mean, a 1/1 double striker for 3 is a little pricey. Not crazy pricey. 1/1 double strikers for 2 is the common stat line. This seems quite reasonable as a way to break a stalemate. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 unlimited. I like it. Speaker of the Heavens. That's me. 1 white, a human cleric, vigilance, lifelink, 1/1. Tap, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total. What the? This is it. This is the 1-drop I've been looking for in my White Weenies deck. It's a vigilance 1/1. It can heal up, and it can just start making the fuck out of angels. What the fuck? Holy shit. Oh. In limited, 0 out of 5. I think it sucks in limited out of 5. Yeah, this sucks in limited because it's a 1/1 vigilance lifelinker, and that's all it is. Phosphorus has 7 life, though. Seems more like a win more card. Here's how I will argue against that. Life has typically been a measure of your closeness to death, not a measure of your progress towards victory, right? So, for instance, if you are at 4 health, you're close to death, but you might be able to win this turn, right? It's a reflection of your closeness to losing. And so life gain decks, I mean, you saw me go to like 41 health pretty easily against another aggro deck, right? You gain a lot of life, and a lot of the issues that you will have with these, life gain style decks is that you can gain a lot of life, but the question is, how do you win? You're delaying your death, but you're not pushing towards victory. So getting to 27 health is a bit of a challenge, but it's not unthinkable, especially with the existence of some extra life linkers that I've been hungry for. And this card would be, I'd probably put it in the main. It's a threat enough that it warrants removal in addition to a Pride Mate, something like this. I want 1/1 lifelinkers anyways. I might board it out against a control deck that's very good at deleting my life gainers and things like that. I might want to put it something more proactive against control, like a Gideon Blackblade. But this seems very good against, say, an Expansion Explosion deck, where I can just start gaining some life, deny the enchantments. Uro's a threat, no big deal. I'm healing too, and I can just be summoning angels. This is cool. I would give this a 4 out of 5 in constructed with a very narrow range of strength. Ow! Oh, what kind of hiccup was that? Ow! Oh my god. Wow, that was a painful hiccup. Okay, 0 out of 5 for Speaker of the Heavens. Screw you. Staunch Shieldmate. 1 white for a 1/3. Oh, please. I'm not even going to rate this. Swift Response. 1 and a white. Destroy target tapped creature. 5 out of 5 in limited. 5 out of 5. Just a stunningly good card. What do I think about this in constructed? Quite good in constructed. This is a sideboard card. This is a sideboard card. This is great art too. Look at the Cyclops. It's absolutely shocked. Yeah, no, I would actually give this a 3 out of 5 in constructed, because if I am a white deck that is a little bit, like maybe a mid-range white deck in particular, if I'm up against aggro, I board these in and I can just take things out that are trying to attack me. Maybe a 2 out of 5 in constructed. Maybe it's a little bit weaker, but I mean, limited 5 out of 5. This is a stunning, stunning, stunning card in limited. This is just great. Tempered Veteran, 1 and a white. You can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Wild. This feels not good in constructed at all, due to the fact that this is a multiple turn advantage type thing, and what lives for multiple turns in standard. Am I right? But the 1 white to just keep growing a thing is pretty nice. But the big effect, 6 to just get things kickstarted, like, and it's a 1/2. I mean, Seems slow. I'd give it a 2 out of 5 in limited, 0 out of 5 in constructed. The effect is obviously unbounded, but I mean, give me a break. I mean, and then it gets 1 more counter, and then it just gets 1 more counter, and then it just gets another counter. Give me a break, Tempered Veteran. Don't be so tempered. Be an ill-tempered veteran and put some counters on with reckless abandon. Valorous Steed, 4 and a white. Vigilance 3/3. When Valorous Steed enters battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilamps. This is a very good limited card. You have 2 different threats. It's 5/5 for 5, which is great. Everything has Vigilance, which is, just kind of bonus. 0 out of 5 in constructed, 4 out of 5 in limited. I would be quite happy to have this in limited. I mean, this is not going to be at any point the like, oh, I play the Valorous Steed, there's the game, I did it. But I mean, this is the kind of card that I'm just delighted to have in white. If I see this and I don't have a bomb, I mean, this is just instant pick, and it's common too. I mean, this is going to be a nice round out. Vryn Wingmare, 2 and a white. Flying, non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. Who likes Thalia? Huh. Flying non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. How does a man evaluate the Wingmare? But a miserable little pile of secrets. Not all, man. 4 different references in one. I don't know how to... I don't even know what to do about this card. I don't know what to do about this card. I'm like the principal, and this card has been acting up for months. I don't know what to do with you. Here's the thing. Thalia. If any of you don't know Thalia, just look up Thalia Magic. Thalia is a 2-mana last that says non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. It's just a bone crusher for these non-creature based control decks. This is 1 turn later, which is significant. I really struggle to think about this. It has to exist in a more aggressively bent deck, because what does this say? You would have killed all my stuff next turn, but you gotta wait 1 more turn now. I feel like I have to say that this is like a 3 or 4 out of 5 in Constructed, I think. Yeah. I feel like I have to say it's 3 or 4 in Standard Constructed. In Limited, maybe a 3 out of 4. Maybe even a 2 out of 4. Here's why I don't rate this as highly in Limited. It's a 2/1 flyer for 3. Fine. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. That affects you too. That affects you too. This is everyone's non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. And you kind of want to cast those in Limited. I maybe give it just like a 2 out of 5. It's just sort of a 2/1 flyer that kind of fucks everybody. In Constructed, I can imagine if I'm a creature-focused deck, I heard all the non-creature-focused decks. Maybe this is a side border. That'd be kind of funny to go turn 2 Thalia, turn 3 Wingmare in Historic, but I don't play Historic. By the way, look at Nightbot. Nightbot is still plugging Grifflands. I played Grifflands yesterday, and we have the bot posting the link to getting it on Steam. I mean, this is not a Grifflands stream, but I'll be honest, that game's fucking awesome. They're having a sale, and you can get it on the link that's being posted in chat. Ugh. I don't know, maybe the bot's been grinding Grifflands all night, who knows. Screw this card. Warded Battlements, 2 and a white. Defender, oh yeah. Attacking creatures you control get +1/+0. This card is so cool. This card gets a 5 out of 5 for coolness. 0 out of 5 for Constructed, and probably like a 2 out of 5, 1 out of 5 for Limited. This seems not good, right? You know, you probably don't want Defenders, but like the +1/+0 is pretty fun, huh? Especially if there's a way to make many tokens that I don't know about. That like you have a token deck, and this is actually a defensive creature that can persistently do good stuff, but then you're like buffing everything. Hey, it's kind of like the Anthem, except it's actually on the field, which I like quite a bit more. So, you know, 1 out of 5. And with that, we have concluded analyzing white. It took us 1 hour and 20 minutes. Whoops. Looks like we will be doing another 8-hour special. I'm going to go get some coffee. In that regard, please enjoy Baron, Tolarian Archmage. And yes, I'm wearing pants today. A whole new pants. Da, 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 da. All right. Baron. Ugh. Tolarian Archmage. 1 and a pair of blue. When Baron, Tolarian Archmage, enters the battlefield, return up to 1 other target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Hell yeah. At the beginning of your end step, if permanent was put into your hand from the battlefield this turn, draw a card. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Will it be run in Constructed? No. Absolutely not in a million years. 0 out of 5 constructed. Are you kidding me? A sorcery speed creature that just sends something back and then doesn't do anything? No, 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 no. This card is awful, bad, no good, very stupid and constructed. In limited, 2 out of 5? 2 out of 5? Wow, that coffee is hot and strong. Much like you. I don't think this is that good in limited either. Like, it's a 3-mana 2/2 that like bounces a thing, and you can like slow yourself down to draw a card. That feels very So, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, 1 out of 5 constructed. 1 out of 5. No, excuse me, 0 out of 5 constructed. 0 out of 5 constructed. By the way, when I say constructed, I mean standard. I don't play Historic, I don't play Vintage, I don't play Modern, I don't play Legacy, I don't play Pioneer, I don't play whatever other formats there might be, with increasing randomness of names. Do you play Gladiator, Sean? Have you played Gladiator Day 9? Brawl, what about Brawl Day 9? Have you played Warrior? Okay. I'm getting this out of here. Screw this card. Cancel. Counter target spell. Bad, 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 bad. 0 out of 5 constructed. 1 out of 5 limited. Maybe 2 out of 5 limited, because, I mean, it is removal. This stinks. Here's why it stinks. There are a crap ton of 3-mana counterspells with upside, and that is the benchmark for counterspell. We love 3-mana counterspell with upside, like Neutralize, which is this card plus cycling for 2. Hey, that's pretty dope. Limited, it's just some blue removal that's a little expensive. Hear me smack the green screen. Capture Sphere, this is a limited classic. 5 out of 5 in limited because it is removal. 0 out of 5 in constructed because it is not a cheap counterspell. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, let me read the card. Capture Sphere, 3 in a blue. Flash, cast at any time. Wow. Enchanted creature, when Capture Sphere enters the battlefield, it'll tap Enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step, right? It's just disable a creature. And so that's why it's 5 out of 5 in limited and 0 out of 5 in constructed. Look at that. Discontinuity. Oh my god. 3, a blue, a blue, a blue. As long as it's your turn, this spell costs 1 colorless and 1 blue. I did the math for you. End the turn. How sick is this? How sick is this? Okay, now I want to explain how this works. Let's say it's my turn and I have enough mana to cast a spell. Let's ignore the mana cost. Let's understand how this works. It's my turn. My opponent casts Exile a creature. In response, I cast Discontinuity to end the turn. You know what happens? Look what it says. Exile all spells and abilities from the stack, including this card. Everything underneath it just gets exiled. It just doesn't even happen. It clears the stack off. Think of this. Now, Tetrin says this card can't be countered. Can it? It sure can. It goes onto the stack. The effect goes onto the stack. So you just counterspell it. You can just counterspell it. But if it resolves everything underneath it on the stack, poofs. It poofs. It just clears everything below. And I understand where the confusion comes from because it says exile all spells and abilities from the stack, including this card. But I mean, it just ends the turn. So, 2 mana counterspells are good. How does this work with the you lose the game effects? It exiles it. All effects underneath get deleted. All spells underneath get deleted. Everything gets deleted. Now, the thing that makes this a bit of a pain in the ass, and here's the very important part, because let me stop. There's a whole lot of people that are just like, oh my god, I could just, I could cast this to prevent all sort of death effects, chance for glory that causes me to end the game. Boom, I just get rid of it. Yeah, there's all the stuff that I can do on my turn, but On the opponent's turn, this is a 6 mana end the turn effect. Now, why is it 6 mana on the opponent's turn? Because their order is untap, upkeep, draw. They can untap, you can pay 6 mana, and just end their turn, denying them the ability to draw. Pretty sick. There's a lot of self-synergy here. This is going to be absolutely explored. Like, absolutely 100,000% explored. This is probably a 3 or 4 out of 5 constructed kind of card. 3 or 4 out of 5 constructed. There's got to be something. There's got to be something good here. In terms of limited, I'm going to say 0 out of 5 limited because, dude, play creatures and removal spells. Don't become a clown running discontinuity. Don't go to Clown Town. Just be an adult and play creatures and removal. 9 lives is an example of one where we might want to be able to live. But, you know, I can imagine running a pair of these. In the deck. Yeah, also, for any of you who are curious, when there are things that say, do this until end of turn, or at the end of your turn, do this. So you'll notice that this says damage wears off and this turn and until end of turn effects end. That is different from an effect that says at the end of your turn, do this. Under the hood, in the guts of the rules, when something says at the end of the turn, like say at the start of your end step, bring this card back to the battlefield, something like this, that doesn't happen. Because things that say do this at the end of your turn really mean do this at the end step, and end the turn stops right now and never lets you get to the end step. Okay? Wow, you're right. The art on this is like really messed up. Nice. So this skips the end step. So things that say at the end of your turn do this are actually secretly referring to the end step. So this has a lot of interestingness. 4 out of 5 constructed, I'm going to call it. Enthralling Hold, 3 and a pair of blue. Enchant creature. You can't choose an untapped creature as this spell's target as you cast it. You control enchanted creature. Huh. So this basically is gain control of a tapped creature. Okay. So this is probably a 5 out of 5 in limited. Probably a 5 out of 5 in limited. You have to accept some damage, then you get control of the thing. Seems really good. Part of me wants to say it's a 4 out of 5 limited because if a creature attacks and then you gain control of it, and then you have to wait till your next turn's untap step before it untaps. And if the opponent can destroy the enchantment, they just get that shit right back again, you know? So there's like some extenuating circumstances around this. But I mean, probably a 5 out of 5. Anyway, 0 out of 5 constructed because it's an enchantment that costs 5 with conditions. Absolutely nope out of 10. Frantic Inventory. That's me packing. 1 and a blue. Instant. Draw a card, then draw cards equal to the number of cards named Frantic Inventory in your graveyard. Ooh, it coming speed. Ooh, it coming speed. If you draft a few of these, this could be really good. I mean, there were, what is it, Fairy Miscreant decks? Where you can, like, get a whole bunch of Fairy Miscreants and just be, like, drawing a whole bunch of stuff. I think Frantic Inventory is probably, like, a 3 out of 5 3 out of 5 limited card if you can make it work. 3 out of 5 limited card if you can make it work. What do we think about Constructed? What do we think about Constructed? This might actually be pretty good in Is It Phoenix type things. This has potential, so I'd give it a 2 out of 5. I'd give it a 1 out of 5 in Constructed. It's very, very narrow. Very, very narrow, and I don't really play Is It Phoenix. Now, if it's narrow and I do play the deck, I give it a 4 out of 5. I know my patterns. Don't think I don't. Like, if it's a card that helps White Weenie or White Life Gain, I'm like, oh, 4 out of 5 Constructed. If it's a card that helps the historically excellent Is It Phoenix that I have played but don't play that much because it frustrates me some. 1 out of 5. You know what I'm saying? This is 1 out of 5. No, it's very fringe. It's a little too narrow for me. 1 out of 5, you know. And in limited, you know, 3 out of 5. What can you say? You know, I'm telling you the truth. I know what I am. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? I'm not here for when I'm saying shit. What do you think? My memory is that of a goldfish? How dare you? How dare you? I had the memory of a much more sophisticated fish than a goldfish. Frost Breath. 2 and a blue. Oh, what a classic. Tap up to 2 creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step. You know what? I don't give a shit. I'm saying this is 5 out of 5 in limited. Not because it is, but because this is nostalgia. Oh my god, this is wiggling my bones. And honestly, in games historically, like in action RPGs, anything where there's cold, I love cold magic. I love the slow and disabling. And the idea of freezing things just speaks to me. I love Frost Nova in Diablo 2, man. It's such a sweet spell, man. We're Frost Nova-ing. Fuck yeah. God, it's so great. Constructed, -1 out of 5. Get out of here with your kitchen table garbage. What colors have we done? Jizzy asks, by the way, because your name's Jizzy. We've done white. We're on blue. We will be going in Wooburg order. Wooburg, white, blue, black, red, green. Colorless artifacts. Multicolored. Wooburg. Ghost Pilferer. 1 and a blue for a rare spirit rogue. Whenever Ghostly Pilferer becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. Huh. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. Huh. Discard a card. Ghostly Pilferer can't be blocked this turn. This is okay. This is really dopely designed. But I think this is a 0 out of 5 in constructed and a 1 out of 5 in limited. This is just do a whole lot of stuff to just kind of occasionally draw a card. Like spend mana and you got to attack, I'm going to block a ball and all this stuff. Oh my god, and do all these things. I mean, come on. And it's a 2-1 that is conditionally unblockable. Look, just give me the 3-1 unblockable, okay? Give me the Phage. This is nonsense. Boo, boo, boo. Also, Cat and Tilt, thanks for the 100 bits, man. I hope you're enjoying our sweet, dope content. And I know... Cat and Tilt says, the things you did for SC Esport is according to what got Esport where it is. All love, 2Day9. Cat and Tilt, thank you. And nothing really follows in the footsteps of that esports legacy, like giving arbitrary number ratings to unplayable cards. Ah, yes. 0 out of 5. This card sucks. Jeskai Elder, 1 and a blue for a human monk. Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets a little bit big. Whenever Jeskai Elder deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Oh, you may draw a card. I was like, then you have to discard a card. Like, Prowess is a pretty fun mechanic, but this... No. No. No, this card's terrible. It's terrible. This is terrible. It was horrible. It was a horrible, no good, very bad card. 1 out of 5 limited, because sometimes you just need some pack filler. A 0 out of 5 constructed. I can't even envision what this deck would be. If you want to have something that casts a lot of non-creature spells, I mean, play, it's not Rylai. It's the French-sounding one. Rael? The 0/4 that gets bigger based upon the number of instants and sorceries in the graveyard? Yeah. That one's way better than this one. Yes, it's 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. I pity those that must run this in their limited decks. Keen Glide Master. Oh, yeah. 1 and a blue. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Oh, limited out of 5. Constructed. Absolutely not in 1 million years should you ever run this in constructed. However, if we are trying to search out a good reason to run this card in limited, having any creatures that can't quite bonk in is a good enough reason at all. Like, here's the thing. Keen Glide Master helps solve one of the essential problems that comes up in limited, which is the board's clogged. So, it's great. It's great, 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 great. This seems Great and limited. 3 out of 5. I wouldn't give it a 4 out of 5 because it does take extra mana and it's very fragile. It's bad defensively, but it's quite good. Library Larcenist. Whenever Library Larcenist attacks, draw a card. 0 out of 5 in constructed, but pretty cool and limited. I give it a 3 out of 5. The stat line sucks the most, but I mean, you can always think of this as a 3-mana cycle with some steps. I'd give it a 3 out of 5. It's barely a 3 out of 5, though. It's barely a 3 out of 5. I mean, come on, honestly. What is the matter with you? 1/2. I mean, part of me would just rather run a divination. You know, 3 mana, draw 2 cards, be done with it. Yeah, see, Ghost Darkness is 2.9 out of 5. That's right, 2.9 out of 5. That's right. Lofty Denial. Look at this bird. You know that this bird is just trying to protect its ice cream. 1 and a blue, instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. If you can control a creature with flying, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 instead. Wow, that's actually... This is actually quite thick. Oof. At best, 1 or 2 out of 5 in limited, because paying 1's pretty easy. When players are able to spend all their mana very efficiently and constructed, this is barely able to do it. So I'd give it a 1 out of 5 in constructed. And I am basically thinking of this as a slightly worse Quench. Slightly worse Quench. If there is an Azorius Flyers deck, this can really dumpster a lot of stuff, because this will often be counter the spell. Quench is counter spell unless opponent pays 2. And even then, Quench was really kind of rough. So I give this like a 1 out of 5. Also, everyone's saying that I always hate blue. Spellslingers, I really feel like did a disservice to me. They took every instance of me hating on blue and they were like, why don't you talk about that a little more? And then like the camera goes like, like zooms in on me, and like the guy holding the microphone's like lowering the mic to my head, and they're like, yeah, that's good. And I can see the director like nodding his head and like egging me on. They love it when I shit on blue. I play a good amount of blue when I play Magic. You watch. I do have a little bit more of an affinity to like the Naya colors and whatnot, in particular green, but like, you know, I don't hate blue as much as they say that I hate blue. I feel like I've been unfairly characterized. Miscast. Counter target instant sorcery spell unless its controller pays 3. Oh my god, welcome back, Miscast. Welcome back, Miscast. 5 out of 5 constructed. Holy shit, 5 out of 5 constructed. Wow, nice. This is a nice-ass card. This is like vintage. Yeah, you know, ones across the board, but like 5 out of 5 in constructed. It's not a reprint. This is a new card. It's not a reprint. Wait, what am I thinking? Am I thinking of Misstep? I mean, still, this is just an astoundingly good card. 1 mana to just annihilate a thing. What am I thinking? I am not thinking of Spell Pierce. I'm not thinking of Spell Pierce. There's a 1 mana Mental Misstep is what I'm thinking of. Thank you. Yes, Mental Misstep. Mental Misstep is a card that reads. Oh yeah, counter target spell with converted mana costs 1, and that card's free. Okay, never mind. This is. It's actually a completely different card. It's a card for 0 mana that counters something. That's pretty good. You know, 5 out of 5 and constructed due to the fact that it's highly targeted and extremely efficient at where it succeeds, which is a very, 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 very common card. In limited, I'd give it like a 0. I'd give it a 0 in limited because you rarely need something that is that targeted in limited. Mistral Stringer. Or no, Mistral Singer, 2 in a blue, flying prowess, 2/2. Hey, this is a really solid limited card. I'd give this a 4 out of 5 in limited. I actually quite like this. 2/2 flyer for 3 is solid. No, this is probably 3 out of 5. This is just a very solid little limited card. This is very, 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 very solid. Very, very solid. Flying 2/2 for 3 is great, and it can get bigger. Great. Great. Prowess Flyers. Nice. Great thing about Prowess Flyers is it doubles down on your combat trick's efficiency. I can cast a combat trick and it gets bigger as is. It's great. Opt. This is a garbage card. 0 out of 5. Will not see play in any format. Alright, Pursued Whale. 5 and 2 blue. When Pursued Whale enters the battlefield, each opponent creates a 1/1 red pirate creature token with this creature can't block, and creatures you control attack each combat if able. Spells your opponents cast that target the big whale cost 3 more to cast. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Look at this white whale. Applesauce says opt. More like opt out. Damn right. This card is literally so bad, it makes me think that the designers of Magic the Gathering hate us, the game, and babies. Pursued Whale, though. Pursued Whale actually looks like the proboscis mouth of the xenomorph in the movie Alien. Doesn't it? It literally has that same... Wow. That's the same face. Constructed 0, limited 5. Did we do it? Is that it? Hard casting a 7-mana creature seems tough. Yeah, I don't like casting 7-mana creatures any more than the next person. But an 8/8 that's difficult to remove that forces the opponent's creatures to attack, this becomes removal, right? I cast Pursued Whale, you are forced to attack with everything each combat, and then I just block the large creature with my larger Pursued Whale. This seems like a very, very strong eventual annihilation in limited. I think it's quite good. I think it's quite good in limited. 5 out of 5 in limited, 0 out of 5 constructed. Reign of Revelation. This is you listening to me share the facts about cards and Magic the Gathering. Oh, Dana, you soak me with your knowledge. Also, I wear a tie-dye shirt because I still think they're cool from elementary school. Draw 3 cards, then discard a card. That's not good. That's not a good card. That's not a good card. The typical stat line is 3 mana to draw 2 cards. That's divination. 3 mana, draw 2 cards. This is 4 mana, more or less, draw 2 cards. You only would be happy about this if discarding was a particularly important component to your deck. So I'd give this a 1 out of 5 in constructed and a 4 out of 5 in limited, because frankly, you can run anything that draws you cards in limited and feel pretty good about it. I'd be quite content with. I'd be quite content with running this in limited. This actually feels pretty good. Uncle O'Grimacy says, disagree, LOL. Day9 and I disagree on cards so much. Well, Uncle of Grimacy, it looks like it's time to show down. I want you to name just one card today. One card today where I have said something inaccurate that isn't this card. Huh? Name one other card. Name just one. Now, what I could do is I could just say, there it is. And there it is. Didn't answer me because there's a delay with getting the signal to you, because that's how the speed of light in the internet works. So maybe you just haven't even heard me say it yet. Here it comes, Uncle. And there it is. Haven't even seen Uncle Grimacy type. You know what? We're just going to wait. We're going to wait, Uncle Grimacy. Uncle Grimacy, I can see Uncle Grimacy's eyes widen. Oh my God. Oh my God, I guess I do agree with every single thing that has been said. I said Faith's Fetters somewhere up there. Where's Faith's Fetters? Let's go to F. Zero out of 5 constructed. This is a 0 out of 5 constructed. This card shouldn't possibly ever be run in constructed. It's so bad in constructed. But in limited, it's removal, so you may as well just give it a good rating. I mean, come on. Come on, Uncle Grimacy says I'm helping with content. Actually, kind of ours is pretty fun. But still, what the fuck, man? Get me out of here. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe that someone who is so wrong and so bad at trying to predict things could possibly criticize me, someone that's good at predicting things. It says it hits even castles. Wait. Enchant permanent. Oh, this enchants a permanent. This doesn't enchant a creature. Oh. Oh, you could enchant a planeswalker and it can't. You can enchant a planeswalker and it can't use its activated abilities. Oh. Ghost Star, would you do me a favor? Would you time out Uncle Grimsey? Let's just get him out of here for a minute or so. I don't want to hear from him again. Alright, let's move on. Let's move on. Whew. Boy, it sure does feel good to be in a position of power. Whew! Oh, that was good. We almost had to confront being wrong about something. Alright. Anyways, that card's 0 out of 5. Read the Tides. 5 and a blue. Choose one. Draw 3 cards. Or return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. What is this pricey, bad, terrible card? What is this card? Actually, seriously, this is... I don't know what is going on here. 6 to draw 3 or return 2 target creatures? What? Seems weird. I mean, I guess you'd have... You might run one of these in Limited and be unhappy about it, like a 1 out of 5. I mean, maybe. I mean, this is weird. This is weird. 0 out of 5 constructed, like 1 out of 5 limited. I mean, this is like a 23rd card in limited, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, what the hell? Antibody says, I disagree that you're wearing pants. I believe you're wearing really long socks on your feet. You have tied around your waist. Well, surprise, Antibody. I have pants, and I'm wearing socks underneath. Yes. Oh my god, look at me. The Victorian lads would be absolutely salivating over my dainty ankles. Oh my god. Did you see Day 9 lift up his pant leg on the show? I did. I was so aroused by his immodesty. Alright, read the Tides. Move on. Rewind. Welcome back, Rewind. Welcome back. Shoes inside? Yes, I wear shoes inside because it helps me focus, no joke. Rewind. 2 and a pair of blues. Counter target spell, untap up to 4 lands. This is a satisfying card. This is a satisfying reprint. I like it. Welcome back. Look at Day 9's dad's socks. Well, get this. I'm wearing cool socks on this foot. I have the black anklets here. And guess what? I wear non-matching socks all the time. All the time. I opened the sock drawer and there was a black sock, a white sock, and a black sock. And I took the closest two because I am all about efficiency, right? All about efficiency. That black sock is there for tomorrow. Today, I got a white sock, a black sock, tan pants, and a Godzilla shirt. Is this my Godzilla shirt? No, this is my V Gundam shirt. Is this? Yeah, this is I think so. This card is very, very, very nice. I don't know how it's run and constructed, but countering and untapping to be able to have extra counters feels like it has some merit. Maybe 1 out of 5 in constructed. This is not something that you'd run 4 of by any means in a deck, and there's a lot of good counter spells out there, but I can see something being good. And this is like a 2 or 3 out of 5 in limited. In limited, have we had any 5 out of 5 home runs in blue yet? Have we had a 5 out of 5? Riddle form, 1 and a blue. Ah, yes, this is the Voldemort spell. Riddle form. Enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have a Riddle form become a 3/3 Sphinx creature with flying in addition to its other types until the end of turn. What? This is actually quite challenging. This reminds me of the Ikoria enchantment that becomes a 5/4 Raptor. That was actually quite good. There's a clear focus on prowess and the ability to buff things with spells, so obviously there should be a reasonable amount of spells here. 3/3 flyers, that's quite a good amount of damage. It's quite a good amount of damage. think it's actually pretty strong and limited. I'd give it a 3 out of 5. I think I'd be happy to have this. It's also, one of the things that's nice about this in Limited is that it's a very tricky thing to attack into. Because if I just like cast a card draw spell on your turn mid-combat, I draw the cards and then I can eat a thing. So I think this is kind of challenging. I think that what makes it a little weaker and constructed is that I would need to be a tap-down deck. I would need to be like tap-down non-creature. So maybe, I don't know, a Planeswalker deck, where I'm casting a Planeswalker every turn and bonking in for 3, but even then I'm not really interested in bonking in for 3. If I'm casting non-creature spells on my turn, yeah, I'll give this a 0 out of 5 in constructed. This seems bad. It seems bad in constructed. But it seems like 3 out of 5 in limited because it's very satisfying to ambush people with it. Might be hard to consistently cast spells on your turn to smash the face, but I'm making an assumption that with the existence of prowess, that implies that I will have spells I want to cast on my turn. So, you know. Roaming Ghostlight. 3 and a pair of blues. Flying. When Roaming Ghostlight enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target non-spirit creature to its owner's hand. Seems fine. Another 3 out of 5 limited. Another 0 out of 5 constructor. It seems real fine. I have really bad songs stuck in my head lately. I have A Whole New World from Aladdin stuck in my head. I have She'll Be Coming Around the Mountains When She Comes stuck in my head. Been humming that garbage song as I'm like doing various chores and playing games. Last hitting in Dota. Dum 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 dum. Rookie Mistake, a single blue. Whoa! This image, I feel like, captures the emotional awkwardness internally of two people trying to date in high school. I remember when I was 16 taking a girl on a date, and the conversation at dinner looked a lot like what these two people are doing right now. Whoa! You say weird shit like, "So, do you like any animals?" "I like cats." "Me too." You say "me too" like way too much. I don't say "me too." I'm 33. I haven't said "me too" unless someone says, "Ow, that hurt my eyes." I would go, "Me too." But like outside of that, I feel like people stop saying that once they get around 23, 24. Until end of turn, target creature gets +0/+2, and another target creature gets -2/-0. So make something weak. Ooh, just 1 out of... You hate to run this. This is like pack 1, pick 14, man. This is bad. This is not a good card. In fact, I would give this card a -2 out of -0 for constructed. Rousing Read. Ooh. Ooh, somebody who's a big fan of the fan fiction might step into some rousing readery for the evening. Enchant creature when Rousing Read enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. Enchant creature gets +1/+1, has flying. Wow! That's good! Woo! Ooh. You play it, you then get to draw 2 cards and discard a bad card and make something permanently bigger and flying. Wow. The text on this card was a rousing read. And yes, I too enjoy low effort jokes. Yeah, this card, I would give this like a 5 in constructed. This is, oh, what the fuck? A 5 in limited. It's draw, flying. You can discard something you don't like. +1/+1. I mean, this is nice. It does a little bit of everything extremely well. Flying is good. +1/+1 permanent is good. Drawing is good. It's good. And this is an example of the non-creature spell that could, you know, turn on Tom Riddle over here. Now, when it comes to constructed, don't run this card or any enchantment ever. Sanctum of Calm Waters. 3 and a blue. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may draw X cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. If you do, discard a card. No. No, no, no. Shrines. Huh? Shrines. Might be okay in limited as a way to just, like, once you have your 6 mana, you just, like, draw land, discard the land, you know, something like that. I do feel like this is a 1 out of 5 in limited for the sole reason that it's nice to cycle things out, you know, seems okay. Constructed? No. No. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Never gonna run it. Not this time. Never ever gonna run it. See the truth here at Day 9 TV. 1 in a blue sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of those cards into your hand. The rest of the bottom of your library in any order. If the spell was cast from anywhere other than your hand, put each of those cards in your hand instead. Oh, wow. What was the name of this card that did this? Where you looked at 3, picked 1? Wow. This is a little firecracker of a card. This is Anticipate. That's what it was. Thanks so much, Lloyd Smith and Wildcard, and Beardcaster Mage, and Ophistian, and Cubert's 628. Everyone just typing at the same time. Huh. This is a little firecracker of a card. I'd give it a 2. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. This is kind of nice. This is kind of nice. I mean, this is just like a fine card. This is like maybe a 1 out of 5 in limited, 2 out of 5 in constructed. If you explosion this is spend 2 cards to draw 4 cards, which is really nice. This is also spend 2 cards to draw, or spend 2 mana to draw 3 cards if you have any sort of way to casting from the graveyard as well. It's sorcery, though. I have no clue how to evaluate this. Shacklegeist, 1 in a blue. Creature, spirit. See, that's exactly how I handle a lot of my problems in life. I'm like, ooh, what is this bill for? Anyways, let's go live. Creature, spirit, flying. Shacklegeist can block only creatures with flying. Tap 2 untap spirits you control. Tap target creature you don't control. It's fine. It's a fine card. Doesn't really do anything in constructed. It's a 2/2 flyer. You're rarely going to have a flyer that you can't get past in constructed that you solve the problem of not being able to get past by tapping spirits and tapping the other thing. I don't know. This is 0 out of 5 in constructed. It's just a fine flyer. It's 2 out of 5. It's like pack fill and fineness. I mean, it's actually a little bit better than a 2/2 for 2s, but you know, it's whatever. It's, you know, it's like, I'm not that into it. It's kind of poopy. It's kind of a poopy guy. Shipwreck Dowser, 3 and a pair of blues. A Merfolk Wizard has prowess. When Shipwreck Dowser enters the battlefield, return target instant sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Very, very nice limited. 4 out of 5. I like this card a lot. I like this card a lot. I mean, frankly, 5 mana and an acceptable body. A 3/3. I would describe myself as also someone who has an acceptable body. It's a solid effect to give you the ability to recast an instant or sorcery. The fact that it has prowess, we already see a theme of prowess there. I like this. 0 out of 5 constructed. Has there been a single 5 out of 5 constructed card that we've seen except for like Opt? Spined Megalodon. Oh, yeah. Look at the Spined Megalodon. Yeah. Hexproof. 5/7 for 7. Whenever Spined Megalodon attacks, scry 1. Bomb as hell in limited. Bomb as hell in limited. The bombest. So good in limited. Wow, that's an awesome card. Wait, that's... I guess it is a little bit pricey. I don't know, a 7 mana 5/7. I mean, 0 out of 5 constructed. You want me to hard cast shit for 7 mana as blue? Are you nuts? Only if it's on your turn. This is a common. Wow. Part of me is like wants to hedge my 5 out of 5, but I mean, this seems like really nice, doesn't it? It seems like really nice. Maybe there's going to be an issue getting to that turn. Okay, I'll back it down and make it a 4 out of 5. Tetroons says the joke I should have seen. Perfect 5 out of 7. That's actually nice. Let's stick with Tetroon's rating on that. Stormwing Entity, 3 and a pair of blues for an elemental. The spell costs way less to cast. It's cheaper. It costs 1 and a blue. If you've cast an instant or sorcery this turn, flying prowess when it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Damn, that's good. This is again one of these cards I want to give a 5 in limited to because it does so many things. Now, this costs 5, but if you have, say, a 1 mana spell, you can then cast this on turn 3 because it's discounted by 3. A 3/3 flyer that's cheap with prowess and that scries, it's just doing so many little things. This is 5 out of 5. Yeah, by the way, Opt is a 5 out of 5 card. Opt is just an astoundingly good card. That's why I rated it 0 out of 5, because I'm avant-garde. This is a strong limited card. What do I think about this in Constructed? I don't. Sublime Epiphany. Ooh, somebody read Lock and Key. 4 and a pair of blues. Choose 1 or more. Oh my god. We're about to read the casualties of War of Blue. For any of you who have not read Lock and Key by Joe Hill, and who's the artist of it? It's on the tip of my tongue. I mean, it's just an incredible, incredible comic. One of the best works of fiction I've ever read. I'd strongly recommend reading the comic instead of watching the show because the visuals only really work in a particular way in the comics. I mean, it's one of my favorite works of fiction, period, in any medium. It is astounding. It is truly astounding. It's like moving. Sublime Epiphany, 4 and a pair of blues. 4. Choose 1 or more. Counter target spell. Counter target activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Target player draws a card. Fuck. That is a 5 in Constructed. Man, dude. There are so many cards. Gabriel Rodriguez, Jesus. Yes, thank you, Captain Jez. Gabriel Rodriguez is the artist on Lock and Key and just does an incredible, incredible job. Why are there so many good cards for Simic? I'm ramping up like crazy with my Growth Spirals and my Uros. Now, think about the way that counterspells work in a traditional control deck. What are you doing in a traditional control deck? You are denying and delaying on turns 2, 3, 4, 5. Deny and delay, deny and delay. Denial in the form of 2 and 3 mana counterspells, and then denying in terms of sweepers on turns 4 and 5, right? Now, if you look at the Simic decks that run Growth Spiral and Uro, they don't deny and delay in those early phases. They try to ramp to do something big and good later on, like Casualties of War, like Nissa, like Uro, like anything big at the high end. Sublime Epiphany is a very good payoff to do things like duplicating a Cavalier of Thorns, countering the spell, and drawing a card and bouncing one of your Planeswalkers. I mean, this is a very, very, very nice payoff for one of those ramp decks. I'd give it a 5. I mean, this is nice. This is a nice card. Teferi, Master of Time. 2 and a pair of blueies. Ooh, it's Teferi. Ooh. Teferi Planeswalker. Teferi. You may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi, Master of Time on any player's turn anytime you could cast an instant, which means that I can do a plus on my turn, and then a plus on your turn, and then a plus on my turn, and then a plus on your turn. Okay, so draw a card and discard a card. So this comes out with on turn 4, it can go up to 4 loyalty. Then the instant it's your turn, I can go to 5 loyalty. Target creature you don't control phases out. Treat it and anything attached to it as though... Take 2 extra turns after this one. Target creature you don't control phases out, which means treat it and anything attached to it as though they don't exist until its controller's next turn. Yeah, the difference between phasing out and then exiling return is that if it phases out, it all the stuff still stays on it, is my understanding. Also, it doesn't trigger enter the battlefield effects. Thank you. That's the other one. Yeah, average game guy summarizes it correctly, I think. Phase basically works like it never left, it never comes back. It just isn't there. Okay. This feels like a card that's going to get banned in Standard. Right? This seems really powerful. Let me think about this. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is a 5-mana planeswalker that comes out with 4 loyalty, and then it draws a card to go to 5, draws a card to go to 6, draws a card to go to 7, draws a card to go to 8, and then -8. So 5 activations to be able to -8 that Teferi. This is, I go to 4, and then on my next turn, I go to 6, then on my next turn, I go to 8, then on my next turn, I go to 10, and then at the start of your turn, I can take 2 extra turns. Teferi also untapped lands. Yeah, not what I'm interested in. I'm just trying to approximate the length of time it takes to activate that ultimate. This -3 is the one that's pretty weak. The -3 effect on Teferi, Master of Time, really just means I don't have to deal with this for like a turn. So what I would do is I would cast Teferi, Master of Time, I would +1, and then once it's your turn, after you untap, I would phase out one of your creatures so that it can't attack. And then... What the hell do I think about this? This is going to be most of my blue review is thinking about Teferi, Master of Time. Here's a question I have. If my opponent targets a creature with a enchantment, say for instance they attack with a creature and they add an Embercleave to it, if I phase out the creature, does the Embercleave stay attached to it, or does it fizzle off? Or if I try to enchant it and they... If I try to enchant it and then someone phases it, does it fizzle? I feel like it should fizzle. Here's the thing. I feel like this is someone's gonna break this. I really worry about this card. I mean, I love being goofy as hell in the middle of these reviews, but I sincerely worry about this card. This feels both... Because, and I gotta be honest, here's the reason I feel weird about it. It's doing things that I find really hard to evaluate, plus an insane ultimate. You know? I don't know. It's a very slight planeswalker. Yeah, there's proliferation. I mean, okay, I think with all sincerity, I really struggle to evaluate this card because loyalty is getting played, or loyalty abilities are getting played twice per round. Like, I do one on my turn, do one on your turn, do one on my turn, do one on your turn, do one on my turn, do one on your turn. This lets me find exactly what I need. Phoebia says, ask yourself how many times you get a Planeswalker up to 10 anyways. Take the 10 and cut it in half. You know? Because if it's at -5, a lot of people will go, holy shit, that's so powerful. This can do 2 activations per round, right? With a normal Teferi. Yeah, with a normal Teferi, you can do it once per turn. This does once on my turn, once on your turn, once on my turn, once on your turn. So the turn it's played, it goes to 4, then on your turn it goes to 5, then on my turn it goes to 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10, then boom. So in other words, Teferi Master of Time gets the -10 as frequently, or in the same time as Teferi Hero of Dominaria would be able to activate that ultimate. Why once per turn? Because it says you may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi Master of Time on any player's turn anytime you could cast an instant, which means I can do one on my turn and then one on your turn, because you may activate loyalty abilities of a Planeswalker only once per turn. Hum. I think this is going to break. I feel like this is going to get banned in Standard or something ridiculous. I don't know. Teferi 3 didn't get banned. Who knows? 0 out of 5 limited. Maybe it's like a 2 or 3 out of 5 in limited. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. It's the danger with this card is that it has no ability to kind of like... Technically, it has no ability to protect itself outside of this -3. However, you're cycling like crazy to get what you need. Teferi's Ageless Insight. If you would draw a card, except the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. This is kind of tight. This is not incredible in limited. This is a fun card, man. This is a fun card. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it will exist in any standard decks. Because here's the thing. If you have cards that are letting you draw a little bit here and there, this is just going to like just like build up your hand like crazy. What's the only way that you'd be able to spend that? If they were all cheap spells. Like, even control decks that draw, they don't draw like crazy. They just draw a little bit, you know. They just draw some here, draw some there, get gradual collections. They're not looking to just draw like 15 cards all of a sudden. With cycling, this does apply to cycling, because with cycling I discard and then I draw, so then I would draw 2. Maybe this is actually built for milling? I don't know. I don't even know how to evaluate this. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 in Constructed, because I'll probably try to do something stupid with this. In Limited, I'd also give it a 1 out of 5, because I just don't think that this is that good. This could have been a creature, and now that you've played this, you have to have some card draw stuffs. So this could occasionally let you draw like 7 cards all of a sudden. But I don't know. Yeah. I think that maybe self-milling is maybe where this card will live. Teferi's Protégé, 2 and a blue. Draw a card, then discard a card. Limited out of 5, 0 out of 5 in constructed. This is a card that you just kind of want one of in your limited decks. Let's just get rid of the bads. Teferi's Tutelage, 2 and a blue. When Teferi's Tutelage enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards. Ha! Ha! Ha ha ha! Yeah! Alright, we found the combo! Woo! When you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards. And when you start drawing more cards, and they start milling more cards. And drawing and milling, and drawing and milling. Alright, 10 out of 10 constructed. This card's actually probably garbage in every format, period. This just seems probably like maybe the worst card that's ever been printed, but will make someone very, very, very happy. Tide Skimmer, 3 and a blue. Welcome back. Flying. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures with flying, draw a card. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. This? Good and limited. Good and limited. Good. 4 out of 5 in limited. It's good. What about in constructed? Maybe. Azorius Flyers has been something people have been trying to make work. And a Tide Skimmer appears a little expensive at 4, but the Azorius decks often are not trying to beat you down super swiftly. They're looking to kind of just gradually build up and kind of chip you away in the air. And I think that the Tide Skimmer could be a very, very nice addition to that. You do maybe some denial, and then play a Tide Skimmer on turn 5, 6. Draw a little bit more. It's kind of nice. It's very slight. Gust of Wind. Not Gust of Wind. Maybe it was. There's the thing that says draw 2 cards. This costs 2 less if you control a flyer or something like that. I really think that's going to be a pretty reasonable, a reasonable spot in that Azorius Flyers deck. Tolarian Kraken. Yeah, Winged Words. Thank you. Winged Words is the one I'm thinking of. That gets run in some constructed flyer decks. What beautiful art, Tolarian Kraken. 4 and a pair of blues. Poor Tolarian Academy. It's seen some shit, man. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. When you do, you may tap or untap target creature. Whoa, man. Whoa. Wow, that's pretty tight. This is a nice limited card. Yeah. God, I love that art so much. You can see the brain inside of the Kraken. He's such a smart Kraken. Yeah, 0 out of 5 constructed. This does not do anything with constructed, but limited 4. I'm going to give it a hearty 4. A hearty 4. It's pretty big, not huge, but it's pretty big. It's pretty big. That's nice. And being able to tap down to ping down, very nice. Maybe play one of these and win with some flyers. Tome Anima. 3 and a blue. Tome Anima can't be blocked as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. What? Not great limited. 2. This is basically a 3/3 for 4, which feels very 2/2 for 2-ish to me. It's like whatever. Constructed, no, it's just a weak card. Cool concept. Occasionally deals 3 damage, but it's like whatever. Unsubstantiate. 1 and a blue. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. Oh. Oh, huh. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. So if, like, my opponent casts delete all of Sean's stuff, and I just return that to their hand. This is kind of like an Aether Gust that's a little bit weaker. Right? Why not just counter the spell? There are things like Chandra or anything that says the spell can't be countered. It can still be targeted by an Unsubstantiate or an Aether Gust and put on top of the deck. Maybe a 1 in both Constructed and Limited. Maybe a 1 in both Constructed and Limited. I don't know how many uncounterable things there are going to be coming up, but I mean, I would rather deal with stuff more directly than in a delay-ish fashion. I think occasionally, if you are a sufficiently aggressive mono blue tempo deck, Unsubstantiate is a better catch-all for allowing you to get into the game than a more narrow Aether Gust or a more expensive removal card. So I think Unsubstantiate probably has a place in some mono blue tempo or some Simic Flash tempo-ish kind of things. Yeah, so I maybe give this like a 2 out of 5, a 1 or 2 out of 5. Maybe this would work in the Azorius Flyers, as Blaze of Fire is suggesting. Maybe something like that. But yeah, I don't know. This is very, yeah. This is kind of weird. Weird. Vidalian Arcanist. Oh yeah, 1 in a blue. Add some colorless mana. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell. You know, this is a limited card. Sucks in constructed, 0 in constructed. In limited, you know, it's fine. It's fine. This is kind of one of these things that, again, you know, you're fine to have. It kind of fleshes things out a bit. Better than a 2/2 for 2 if you're doing some sort of prowess creature-y, or excuse me, a prowess spelly focused deck. So, you know, it seems fine. All these are fine. Waker of Waves. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at him. There he is. He's in the background. This is the background. You've been looking at him all day. Woo! Creature your opponent control, get -1/-0. Discard Waker of Waves. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other into the graveyard. Huh. Oh, this is kind of like Mega Cycle. Sucks in constructed. Sucks in constructed. Does it suck in constructed? Yes. I would rather run anticipate type effects. Yeah, this is 0 out of 5. Makes for a very good background in the middle of our card review, but I believe that it is a bad card in constructed. In limited, seems okay. Seems like maybe a 3. I like huge dudes, but I like the other huge dudes that are like indestructible or I mean, they're like hexproof or doing something else good. Seems okay. Just seems okay. Like the cycle ability is actually very, 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 very relevant. So whatever. Waker of Waves. Nothing's really exciting me yet. Oh my god, Wall of Runes. Yes. Single blue defender is a 0/4. When Wall of the Runes enters the battlefield, scry 1. Ooh, yeah. Not a good card in any format, but it's kind of a lot of fun. I can imagine, too, if you're like a blue Flyers deck, you want to smash down a Wall of Runes and then just get some big Flyers out there, and the scry's pretty fun. It rates itself. Nice, Fanstan. Nice. Oh, look, it's a Wisconsin Crab for 3 and a blue for a 2/5. Look at me, I'm doing my wall impersonation. Whoa! Who doesn't love the good old Wisconsin Crab? I'm going to give this a 0 out of 5 in constructed and a 2 out of 5 in limited.